أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome back to another lesson and another step on perfecting our recitation of the Holy Qur'an. Last time we discussed and went through short vowels. That was Fatha, Kasra and Dhamma. And we went through how exactly to pronounce it and how not to pronounce it. So for example, the Fatha is pronounced as A. The Kasra is pronounced as E. We said a sharp downward pronunciation rather than E. And we said the Dhamma is pronounced as U, a sharp upward pronunciation rather than O. And we also discussed that the short vowels need to be pronounced just with one count and not to be prolonged, regardless of whether our tune takes us that way or if we're trying to look at the next word. And we also went through a few examples. Now today we will go through long vowels. And long vowels are essentially the short vowels that are stretched by two counts. And we'll go through how they're stretched and the concepts behind it. So as we can see, you have alif, ya, and waw. These are called mud letters. Mud letters are the ones that activate the short vowels to make a long vowel. But just be careful, each mud letter can only get activated in a particular situation. And I'll explain how. So the long vowel of alif. Alif, if comes after a fatha, that's when it activates the fatha to become into a long vowel. So for example, we have here ba fatha. And then if you see if there's an alif without a sign on it that comes after the fatha, that's when we elongate the fatha into two counts. So the short vowel will be ba and the long vowel is ba. Nice and simple. And then for the kasra, instead of the alif activating the kasra, you have the ya activating the kasra. Similar concept, if the ya comes after the kasra, it activates the kasra into a long vowel to make it two counts. So here we see the example of sin with the kasra. If you see a ya without a sign after the sin, kasra, you know you have to pronounce it as si, two counts. And then finally with the waw. Waw activates the dhamma. If you see a waw appear after the dhamma, that's when you know you have to stretch the dhamma into two counts. For example, fa. Fa dhamma, if there's a waw that appears after the fa, you say fu. Nice and simple. Now we need to just be a bit aware of the most common mistakes that we do. A lot of times, sometimes we misread the long vowel, or when we're reciting, we're trying to be fluent, we do not take that into consideration and pronounce it as a short vowel. So we need to just make sure, now that we've understood the concept behind the mud letters activating the short vowel to become long vowel, now we just need to take our time to make sure that we acknowledge them and recite them as long vowels instead of short vowels. However, we must make sure that we do not go the other extreme and overstretch the long vowels just because we're trying to look at the next word or because our tune is taking us towards that direction. Okay, so let's practice. Again, now we've taken, like last time, we've taken a few examples from our salah. I will go through the letters and we will practice together. So the first one is Subhana Rabbiyal Azim wa bihamdi. As you can see, the ha has a fatha and has an alif after it. As we explained, we have if there's a fatha, an alif that appears after fatha, the alif activates the fatha to make it into two counts. So that's why we will pronounce this instead of subhana, it will be subhana. Two counts. And then the same here. عظيم. We have the dha that has a kasra, but then there's a ya without a sign after it. So that ya activates the kasra and makes it into 2 counts. So instead of عظيم, it will be عظيم. So recite after me. I'll recite the full phrase and then you recite after me. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. Nice. That is good. We're going through these examples, but I know a lot of us have been reciting Quran very regularly, but we will all know where we are making those mistakes. This examples are just so that we can highlight where we could possibly make mistakes, and then we can make those adjustments ourselves. Now this is the recitation that we recite in Sajda. Subhana, again. So the same as last time, the alif appears after the fatha. So then that elongates the fatha to make it into a long vowel. So you say subhana. And then again here. Now this lam has a fatha. But then you see there's a ya, but on top of it is an alif. In this case, the ya is just acting as a carrier. But remember what we said last time, that only the alif activates the fatha. The ya activates a kasra. So here the ya has no bearing other than being a carrier for the alif. So then we pronounce this as a'la, the fatha becoming into 2 counts. So I'm going to recite the phrase and then you just you follow after me at home. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. Move forward. Now here we have 2 more. We have Rabbi. So we have the ba with a kasra and a shadda, and there's a ya coming after it. So that ya, as we know now, it activates the kasra to make it into 2 counts. And then similarly here with the ta, there's a dhamma on the ta. So now we know the waw will activate the dhamma and it will be 2. So the first one is Rabbi and this one is Atub. So again, I'm going to say the whole phrase and then you repeat after me. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilay. Nice. Now we move forward. Okay, a few more over here. Now this is called a lam alif. It has both lam and alif together. But if you see the sign is only on the lam and not on the alif. So that means the alif here is acting as a long vowel, as a mud letter to activate the short vowel into a long vowel. So this will be pronounced as la. And then here again, the lam has a fatha and there's a small alif. That again activates the fatha into a long vowel. Ilaha. And then again here, illa, because there's a lam alif, but the lam, only the fatha is only on the lam and not on the alif. And then the same thing here, just to emphasize the point, lam is only on the fatha and not on the alif. The fatha is only on the lam and not on the alif. And then here we have the ra, which has a kasra. And then after that there's a ya without a sign. So it will be sharika. So I'll recite the phrase and then you repeat after me. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Very nice. And finally, we have here Rasulu. The sin has a dhamma and there's a waw appearing after it. So we pronounce that as Rasulu, not Rasulu, Rasulu. So again, I'll recite the phrase and you repeat after me. وَأَشْهَدُ أَنَّ مُحَمَّدًا عَبْدُهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. That's very good. Okay. So this completes our lesson in long vowels. Remember how to practice your recitation. We went through that in our last lesson. the magic formula and practice your texts as well. Remember to keep on sending in your recordings as a family to be able to not only win the prize at the end of the week but also improve our recitation. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.